Great, thanks, Ricky. I'm really excited today to welcome a couple guests. One is more of a guest than another. We've got Robert Maoga, who is the chairman of Kariobangi Sharks and is closely connected with the Federation, who has joined us. So welcome, Robert. And then we also have Abdul Kaka, who we know as chair within our community here. He is the chairman of Laikipia County, the Federation branch, FKF branch up there, and has been a part of many of our coaching courses and many of these calls over the last few years. So Kaka, we're glad to have you here. And tonight is really a chance for us within our journey, and what we're really about as an organization is to, what we care about is seeing father figure coaches on fields all across Kenya, all over the continent, really. And one of the key things that we talk about is these four roles of a father figure. And one of them is authority, that we want to be a voice of moral authority, that we can speak about what's right and what's wrong. And within that, there's one principle that says we want to be also modeling what it means also to submit to authority. And to submit to authority for us as coaches means submitting to the Federation. So we want to connect tonight and just have a conversation to hear a little bit of what the Federation is up to, what we as community coaches can learn, and how we can support and serve. I'm going to close tonight's session with a couple other thoughts on that, but Ricky and I, mostly Ricky is going to kind of guide with some questions to these two gentlemen, and then as you guys have other questions, please send them put them on the chat bar, and we'll try to get a few minutes as well to open up to your questions for these guys. So without talking too much, I'll start with Robert. And Robert, do you just want to introduce yourself, who you are, how you're connected with the Federation, and pass your greetings, and then I'll let Ricky ask you a question here. Oh, sorry, Robert, I think you're muted right now.
So yes, welcome. You can hear me?
We can hear you now. Yep.
Sorry. sorry. My name's Robert Maoga. I'm the chairman of Kariobangi Sharks, which is a team that plays in the top tier league, the BetKing Premier League. I'm also the secretary of the Premier League Management Committee, which is a committee that runs the league. And I am a close business associate with the president of the Federation. And that is how I'm connected with the Federation.
Wonderful. Well, we're glad to have you here. Ricky, I'm gonna let you kind of take over and ask some questions here. I know you've got some good ones to get us kicked off here.
Yeah. Thanks, Robert. And yeah, thanks, Robert and Karibu. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have been to the FKF website, and I just want, even before I start, I have loved what I am. Just when I go through the website, everything is there from what's currently happening to just beat reports. Can you even believe it that right now that you can go to the website and find the 2019 financial report? 2020, it's such an encouraging thing, just looking at the teams, the fixtures, the standings, that wherever you are, you can just log into the FKF website and you'll have all this information there. Yeah, and that's something that I just want to say that has been that is remarkable. That's just happening at FKF. Yeah, Robert, please tell us how have things been over the past year with COVID?
I can say things were dire last year because when COVID came up, of course, we had just gone, we were about to go to the halfway point, I think, or we're just gone past the halfway point of the Premier League. But we had to stop because we didn't know what COVID was all about. As we all know in the world, there was a lot of misinformation, lack of information, and we needed to understand what it was. So, of course, when football stopped, a lot of things happened. As a chairman of a club, of course, by stopping of the league, then it meant that the sponsors also stopped giving us money, which affected the day-to-day running of the club, because now we had to stop paying our players. We had to stop paying our technical bench. Let me say the thing that really made us think quite a lot about COVID was that we didn't know what next. And I think that was, as leaders in football, when you don't know the next step, then it's unsettling for all of us. So at that particular point in March, April, we didn't know what next. Some of us use our own resources from our businesses to run the clubs. Even those resources were affected. And now it became this whole conundrum of what do we do, So we had to stop. And when you stop, a lot of things then went wrong, because now the players are not being fed. They are not playing to keep fit. We don't know what next. So I think it was a dark time. I'm glad to say that in October, then we had to force our way to starting football, because we understood what COVID was. At least we had more information. We knew what it meant to play well. We took cue from the leagues abroad that had already started playing. Like the Premier League, I got the Spanish COVID protocol document, and that is what we used to forward to the ministry to start the Premier League with. So there was a lot of clear air now, and we knew what was happening, and then the league started. But it's not something that I would like to see happen again. Of course, it was an act of, you say these things happen. It was not out of human error or anything else. They just happened. But it also has made us understand ourselves better and football better by asking ourselves, what if this happens again? How do we deal with it? So I'm glad that football is back. We are now closed, of course, but we think it is a shorter closure of football. As you saw today, the Premier League players are being vaccinated. We need to get the players playing, not just to keep fit, but to be match fit. We have the World Cup qualifiers in the next 1 month, 5th, 6th in June. We need them to be up. So we had to do a couple of things, and the best thing was to vaccinate them. So I'm glad that in one way or another, football is back, and the sponsors are willing to listen. They also understand, and they're working with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I will delve a bit deep, and I think I will, and I'll quickly I will ask Kaka to quickly to just to intro, because this is a question that will involve both of you. Yes, so Kaka, you can unmute, and I think you did not get the chance to introduce yourself. You'll introduce yourself, but tell us, Kaka, how did players and coaches and just clubs manage over this past season in COVID? Yeah, karibu Kaka.
Thank you, Ricky. My name is Abdul Kaka. I'm the chairman of FKF Laikipia County. And me and Robert, we sit at the IGM, I think, together with the clubs. So this COVID thing has been a nightmare first. As Robert said, people lost some jobs, coaches lost some jobs, until our able president talked to the government, and we came back to normal. Just the other day, it was it closed for some time, but we were not wrong to elect the president, because he went and sat with the government again, and they told the government we have to go back to the field because we have qualifications here. So everything it is okay right now. I think, Robert, they're about to now they are injecting their players in that level of the upper level, that is the KPL and KPL women. Trickling down, it is becoming a heavy burden then, because you can say, okay, people asking you, why is the KPL NSL playing and we are not playing? So it has come to you ask the president questions, you ask the next questions, and they give you answers through the CEO. And I think if they get this vaccination down to the grassroots, because I think Ricky, the football is in the grassroots. Robert, just come and look at other teams. Still one player there. This player is good. Go to Kariobangi Sharks. So the back stops at us at the down level there. So it affects Sana, because we have our Division 2, Division 1, the regional league. All of them are now stuck. But I think the president has a solution. We all have his. I know he's somebody who can do anything just for football. So I think in the next few weeks, months, we'll see football going down. Even to the coaches, you can see FIFA did not give us the money because of Adela Mruch cases and whatever, but President got very good sponsorship, and we are continuing very well. So I think by telling you that, 100% that the president knows what he's doing, and the card which is hiding under the table, we don't know. So I think we have confidence in Nick Mwendwa and his whole team, and I hope football will come back at the same, even to the grassroots level.
Okay, so thank you. And this is just to you. Yeah, thanks, Abdul. Robert, kindly tell us, how has FKF is it cushioned or helped clubs and players just during this uncertain season? There was a time I could see the Ministry of the Minister of Sports was helping, was giving out support to athletes. Tell us, how has FKF just cushioned, be it players, clubs, just in this time? Thank you.
Last year, when we learned of COVID, of course, the president went to the ministry after a while, and we talked, and I think he managed to get funding to players straight to their phones. I think it was 10,000 for 3 months, 10,000 every month for 3 months, at least to push on them. But again, at that particular point is when there was a transition from the Kenya Premier League that was running football to the new league. And then we went and managed to secure sponsors, sponsors for football, let me call football. And one of the few things that Nick through FKF did was when we were talking to the title sponsor of the top tier league, we actually agreed that the amounts that are coming will not just go to the top tier league. So we decided to share that money with like the Bet King decided to share the league. Then they took Division 1. And then on the broadcast partner, they took the women's team, national team, Harambee. So we tried to get in money, the money that came in, we tried now to spread it to the national teams, the NSL and the Division 1. So you could see that no league, let me say, as it trickles down, that the top tier league then can benefit the other leagues as we go down. So the biggest thing we did was to get sponsors to come in and sponsor those leagues in, not at the level that we wanted to, but it was a good start. You could see now, like the top tier league, now all the clubs were getting paid some money. Football was ongoing. You've not heard of the national team struggling because the strategy of the president is to say that the federation needs to be self-sufficient, self-reliant, away from government, because you do not know whether government will deliver for you. I remember when we started this thing with Nick, he said, I want to run football to leave a legacy in football. And the legacy in football was on three big things. It was on infrastructure, it was on player welfare, and it was on the national team performances. So, and you can see these things are happening, not as fast as we wanted to, because there was a bit of rot in the federation from the former regime. We can't blame, sometimes you say that the things that happened there are the ones that have stopped us from moving as fast. No. We've built on those. We have learned from the mistakes that have been there. And we actually thank those people who are there, because they've showed us how not to run football. And the way to run football is this way. So the money that has come in, as you hear, goes to a lot of things, to pay debts that were there. Your Del Amrouche, your Bobby Williamson, all these things are things that happened before, but we can't run away from them. They're the ones that are slowing us to get there, but we are getting there in very good measure. So a couple of things now, we have the chairman like Abdul Kaka now making a lot of decisions. They can talk about what is happening to their players, to what is happening in their areas, and see how we can help them. So the big thing that we have done, and the big thing that is happening, is that we are listening more and finding solutions. So we continue. We are not where we are meant to be, but we continue to try and make it better. So when you look at the success of the top tier league, you look at the success of the national teams, then it means that more sponsors, more partners are willing to come, and then more money will trickle down to the branches, the counties, and everyone else who's playing football. Very soon, in another 1 or 2 years, will be able to get something out of what we are doing at the top level.
Hey Robert, let me
Thank you.
let me hop in here real quick. I love just the listening to the guys on the ground and setting up that structure. And I think one of my questions is as you're hearing, more from guys like Kaka and other county leaders, what are you hearing as some of the greatest needs at the grassroots level? And just, I mean, as you're talking with Nick and having these conversations, are there plans in place, or are there ideas, even as there are a lot of grassroots coaches here represented, just to hear of, what are some of the plans, or what are some of the thoughts that are running through your guys' heads as you're hearing these things?
Grassroots football has a lot of challenges. The biggest challenge was, of course, on coaches. Were the coaches on ground technically good to be able to give us football? I think the biggest challenge was technically, do we have people who can give us players who will be good to play in the national team? So, and the first thing that happened was now to get coaching courses for everyone. I think from the lowest level to the top level. And I can tell you for a fact that because of the trainings we are doing with coaches, CAF has added additional slots for Kenya to train their coaches. Normally, countries are allocated slots in a year, but Kenya has double what other countries have because of what we are doing. The other challenge has been, can they go and play games? Can we finish a league? And the costs are high. Your refereeing costs, your match day costs are a bit high. Do you pay players? Because down there, players don't get paid. So they depend on well-wishers to do 1, 2, 3 for them. So what would happen is Abdul Kaka would get a small budget, but that budget will not be able to cater for the leagues that he has. Do you kit the players? Do you pay referees? Do you pay for grounds? Do you have balls? Do you have all this equipment that you need to play football? So that is a very big challenge. Finally, when you look at it, is have we equipped the chairman like Abdul Kaka to be able to pull off this well? Have we enabled them? Do they have offices? Do they have communication lines with the office? Do they have money to ensure that when they come with programs, then we are able to pull them off? I think those are the challenges that I see immediately that are being addressed as we move along. Now, for example, on coaches, we came up with an online system. It's a digital system now that CAF can also follow. So you're not going to have a quote unquote fake coaches in the system. So I think we have concentrated so much on the coaches first, because once you have the philosophy of the federation ingrained in most of grassroots coaches, then you can see where we are going in a bigger picture. So it's something that what we are having as a problem I'm seeing with the grassroots coaches is that they need to come out more and speak and say that I need to get this training. So a lot of them don't do that. And as Ricky has said, we are trying to come up with a lot of policies that are at the website so that people are able to know what we are all about. Sometimes ignorance is not a good thing. You might have something, the federation might have something for you, but because you don't know it's there, then you don't take advantage of it. So we are hoping that if we are able now to disseminate more information on what the federation is all about and how it can help everyone, then we would be able to get more requests out there.
That's great. I mean, you started with their big challenges, and I think every coach here would agree with you. We know that we experience those things, and I think I mean that's been a lot of our heart as ambassadors is how do we invest in the coaches on the ground at the grassroots level, technical ability, and also we dig deep in the heart of the coach as a mentor, which is why we're excited about continuing to connect with you guys. So Abdul, I'd love to just hear your answer to that question of just kind of anything that Robert said that you would want to expound on, or if there's something else that you're seeing just at the grassroots level, and anything that some hope that you're seeing with the Federation of what's being done about it.
Thank you, Steve. I can add by saying that the Federation started by having 2,000 coaches in the whole country for for the D license. So as Robert said, first we must have to put a curriculum, then send it to CAF, and then they come back with to us and say, okay, you can take those courses. That's why we did it in 2016. But I will concur with Robert. Some coaches are not even willing to take the coaching course, which is only 10 days, the basic. It came to my county, and to my shock, we were only 17. Then when FKF gave us the CAFC, then now everybody wants to run to the CAFC, and he has not done the basic, of which you cannot do that. As Robert said, it is electronic. So it has done a lot. FKF is doing a lot about coaches, not coaches alone, even referees. Coaches are being trained. Even there was a course that we could have done, the CAFC one in Kisumu, one in Nairobi, and one in Mombasa. But when Corona came, things stood. But I know Nick Mwendo is a coach himself. Robert forgot to tell you, he's a coach himself, Nick Mwendo, and he knows the pinch of the grassroots. So we are hoping as times goes by, we coaches are going to have good rapport with the Federation. I will just say something small about the KEFOCA. The KEFOCA, the coaches association itself is dead. So we tried to form another one, which has about 400 and something coaches. We called it KEFOCA, and we are trying. We registered the SABO, and I think it's going the right way, because we wanted to have a course very soon, like in the epidemic came. Lastly, I can say that the technical department of the Federation is working hard to see every team is coached by a trained coach, because you cannot train a player and you're not trained, then you take that player to Robert and tell Robert, okay, look for me this player if he's good. And even the basic knowledge he doesn't have. So Federation is trying to do that, and we are happy, because at least most of the coaches who have done, we did D, we have done C, B is coming, and I'm happy the Nick Mwendo's regime is doing something good for the coaches.
Thanks, Kaka. Ricky, I saw you unmute. Do you want to jump in?
Just a question here. Yes. Thanks a lot. I think I've realized over the past few years that that as courses are available, that at least we can get grassroots coaches can get to hear of them. What are, as in, it's been better over the past few years. I think there are some few years before when one just for one to hear that there is a course, it will require connections or what. But now I think there has been an improvement in that area. And I wanted to ask, what is how has FKF made this like public? If there is a a D license one, how do you communicate that by? Is it in the website? Is it, yeah, so that just local guys can always be on the lookout for that. Yeah, the grassroots coaches can always be on the lookout. Yes.
Is that to me or Abdul Kaka?
I think whoever sees, they have the answer. Yeah.
So the way
Are there dates, like, can I know that in 2 months' time? That sort of thing.
Yeah. So what happens is that the technical department at FKF, headed by Michael Amenga, comes up with a yearly plan of how they are going to offer the courses. And then these are now shared to the branches because depending on the basic coaching, then the people at the counties who know their coaches then are tasked with providing names when the courses are due. So for the basic coaches, we depend on Abdul Kaka and his counterparts to help us with the names on the people they think that need these courses. But as you go to the higher courses of C and above, then you find out that the number of people who are going for them are limited. So, and sometimes we know who they are. So we write directly to clubs. Most of the times we write to the clubs asking them whether they have people who would like to take those courses or people who have fit this criteria for you to join those courses. Soon we might not use that criteria, because once you do your basic coaches and it is electronic, once you meet the requirement to get to the next course, then you're automatically eligible. So we write to you. So you're told there's a course coming up. Would you be interested? So what we do, what the Federation has done, is it has tried to shoulder the cost of that course, or the course itself. So we don't ask for money from the people we are training, the coaches, unless there is something that we're asking, then it will be minimal. But what we wanted to do was to ensure that there is no obstacle that stands between the coach and his papers. So normally we go direct to Abdul Kaka and his counterparts to get names of the people who are down there. On the top level, we write to the clubs themselves directly.
All right, thank you. Thank you. So just this is to the coaches and the participants. Please, if you have a question in the meantime, just you can write it on the chat, or you can inbox me or Stephen, and we'll share them with Abdul and Robert. Yes, I wanted to. The next question is, I'll come from grassroots and go up to the national team. I think personally, I think I've seen our progress, and it's been, I'll say we've been definitely impressed, just with the way Harambee has been progressing over the just over let's say over the years. On a personal opinion, before we head out to the breakout rooms, do you what's your view on the current just on the current state of the national team? Like after the qualifiers, let's say if we qualify or if we don't, I think a common scenario is normally like it's like the team disintegrates and things just go back to just things quiet, things become quiet, and then when another major competition is up, that's when the team reassembles. Yeah, just speak more to us, tell us more on that. And congratulations, we were all happy with the Togo result and also Egypt too. Though we lost at Egypt, with Egypt, I believe I'll say it was, yeah, it's part of our growth, it's part of our journey, yes.
Yeah, so Nick and the federation, I think the national team has been, national teams, let me put it that way, men, women, and the young boys, the younger teams. We have never had an international window that Harambee Stars has not played a friendly, if it's not a competitive match. And someone said, once you keep on doing something and you repeat doing it, you become good at it at some point. So what has happened over time is that Harambee Stars, by not missing the international windows, has been gelling and learning and getting there and improving over time. But with the COVID situation last year, a lot of challenges came up because our international players could not easily get back to us. I think there was a lot of lockdown, and then there had to be a reset on how you're looking at the national team. And that's a time now we came up with a policy to say that we will have the Premier League fixture working with the international window, so that once a month, the head coach would be able to call in camp players at least for 3 days, once a month. And you can see how this has greatly improved the national team, because you'll have 70% of the people who played the last, let me say, 4 matches, Sudan, Tanzania, Egypt, and Togo, 70% of them were local-based players. And from those 4 matches, we didn't lose any. I think we lost to Egypt. We drew with Egypt. So when you look at it, there is a deliberate effort to get more local players playing together all the time. By the time you're coming to play the qualifiers, like now we have qualifiers, then they know each other and we can win. Let me put it this way. When you look at the World Cup qualifier, we are playing Uganda at home. Then we go to Rwanda. Then we play Mali home and away. We play Uganda and then away. And then we finish at home with Rwanda. What I'm going to tell you is, if you look at the history of all the group stages, the teams that have made it to either AFCON or to CHAN or to the World Cup qualifiers started their games at home and finished at home. I'll give you that challenge to go and look at the teams that have qualified for AFCON and look at their fixtures. You will find that 80 or 90% of them started at home and finished at home. And out of the blues now, for the World Cup qualifiers, we are starting at home and finishing at home. For you to qualify, you need 10 points. All we need to do is win our home matches and then pick one draw. So there is this feeling that this time we are going to the World Cup. And we are working behind, I think, in a couple of days. I think maybe next week, you will see some things that we are coming up, some reward schemes that we are going to do for the Harambee Stars. You're going to see some partners who've already confirmed very nice figures. And I think the motivation part of it, people are now happy. They're happy with the success. They want to be part of this success. We are going to get there. I think we've just started. and very soon you should be ready to see us in Qatar. So that is on the Harambee Stars. On the women, we've always said that the women have an easier route to get to the World Cup. And I think there are four matches away, I think, from the World Cup. I think that we might have the ladies qualifying first, even before the men. So very soon, you will see that Kenyan football being where it's meant to be. And that would be our prayer and everyone else, because with Kenya going to the World Cup, then the interest on football goes up. Coaches have more work to do, because now most of the players from the grassroots, all these young people will want to emulate someone, would want to go to the World Cup. So we are going to set a trend that will ensure that now football is where it's meant to be, the popular sport, but now it can start paying. I think that is a part where we need to work on, that the players can get paid, and that if we get good world rankings, then we can get our players straight to the best leagues.
Oh, thank you, Robert. Thank you. I really didn't want to. At this point, I would like to give us a small break to go into the breakout rooms, where we will just discuss. We will discuss. Yeah, that how can you as a coach or just as stakeholder in Kenyan football, be it support or just partner or be part of what is happening at the federation, at FKF. You can discuss that one question, and then you can get to just share a bit and pray, and then we will be back here in about 6 minutes max. Yes, thank you so much, Robert and Kaka. I wouldn't want to. I just wanted to go on and on and on, and I realized that I have a few minutes for the breakout room, so that we come and we can give Robert will take your questions after the breakout room. So yeah, it's exciting to see all that's happening a lot is happening at the federation level. The federation has been doing so much. I'll encourage you, if you haven't been to the website, after today, just make sure you just get to the website and see yeah, the good work that has been happening. So now we want to go to the breakout rooms, and we'll discuss how you as a football stakeholder can be a part of what is happening, or just partner with what is happening at FKF. And then you can have just a prayer time, and then we will be back here in, yeah, today it will be brief, but should be done by 5 to 7 minutes. So Stephen, if you can split us up, or Raphael, if you can. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm glad to see people all the way from even Kariobangi, swing over to beat in Ruaka. I'm so glad to have just to see you here. Okay, in this part we have a few minutes, and I will please, you can type your questions or inbox to me if you have a question or two in the chat. We have a brief time, but I would like to have Samson has a question, and I'll have Samson, the strong man of football, becoming strong man of football. Please unmute and ask your question to Robert and Kaka. Go ahead, please, Samson. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jeremy Zaja, not Samson, like it says on my thing. But yeah, thank you for the platform. Yeah, so just to introduce myself briefly, I'm a youth football coach, and I studied briefly in the UK, did a football coaching degree, and together with that, I also did my UEFA B license, which I completed in the middle of last year. And yeah, I'm delighted to be here and and a part of this discussion. My question was for Robert and was directed in the area of scouting. Because I think we know that it's really important that when you're trying to build football structures, that scouting is an essential part of the program. So that you have a continuity in always having a pipeline, sort of a pipeline of talent coming through. And my question was, I don't know if this already exists. If it does exist, forgive me, but is there plans to potentially do scouting on a national scale? Because something I've observed, like with this country, is we always have this assumption, like most players come from certain regions of the country. I don't want to name those regions, but I'm sure you guys are very familiar with some of the regions I'm talking about. And I'm someone who believes that for sure talent can exist in a region outside of the norm. That's where it's looked for. So are there plans, or do they already exist structures whereby young players, especially for the youth national teams, like the under 13s, 15s, 17s, and 20s potentially, are there structures whereby players are scouted from places like Garissa, from like up north, or is it more still like in the traditional kind of places? Like I said, I don't know if the structure already exists, so if it does, forgive me. But yeah, that's my question.
Thank you, Jeremy. I think I can answer that. Scouting exists in its traditional form. Let me just say that. Because what we have been seeing in the country is the good players, or what you'd call potential talent, are normally channeled through to some particular institutions, your Kakamega High, your Dagoretti, your Upper Hill schools. So if you're good at football, then those institutions have systems in place to accept you. So the chances are that if you're going to break out, then you come from those traditional routes. Let me call them that way. And a percentage of the players, we get them from there. But the whole point of now doing your basic coaching to the 2,000 coaches Abdul Kaka talked about was so that they are able to identify a particular player early enough. So if you have many coaches who have an eye on a particular kind of player that we are looking for, then chances are that we will be able to get them earlier. The problem is we are getting them late. And by the time you work on them, then you find out that they might never be able to break out to the big leagues and actually make a good living from football. So with these coaches that we have trained on at the basic level, then they are able to actually go train some player and see that they have potential. So for the young ones, we have come up with the Center of Excellence, which is normally for it's the under 17. Let me call it that. It's the under 17. So you have a 16-year-old, you have your 17-year-old, but we've now put them in one place where they wake up, they learn, and just play football and learn. So we are trying to come up with a particular setup like you have in the West, where the player not only learns, but also plays football. And they normally say that there's some hours that you require as a young person to be able to play good football. So we are trying to ensure that we can give them those hours. I think we had a Center of Excellence here in Nairobi. We've opened one in Western. And the whole point is that in every county, we need to have one Center of Excellence that then would act as our feeder of this particular talent. So right now, traditional scouting, our centers of excellence would help with that. The coaches that we have trained will be able to help us with that. We should be able to see some progress within two years, critically. Right now, we can't complain.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Robert, for that. I think yes, I will have yeah, thank you for that. And also Jeremy, thank you for that question. Yeah, one of the things I'll encourage that I'm just learning is that we continue to make progress and to build even progressively in just various spheres of football. I had Brun, someone, if in the meantime, kindly if you can just write the questions in the chat, because of time, we'll be able to just read them from the chat and then share them with Kaka or Robert. I have Bruno. Bruno, if you can just unmute and just be as brief as you can. Kaka is waiting for your question. Yeah.
Hi, Kaka. Hi.
Hi, Bruno. Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to ask now, you guys have been doing the senior leagues, and we've been hearing that there should be an under 17, under 15, and an under 13 league. It was scheduled to begin, and then something happened in between, and I don't know what happened. So that's what I wanted to maybe clarify. And then number two, the officiating of the sub-county and a little bit of county league. There's been a challenge in the officiating, because I remember there's a time that we had a match, and imagine in a match, it's a sub-county league game, and there are no referee, there are no linesmen, so the referee is just making the decision that feels like doing. So I don't know what the federation is thinking about that.
Thank you, Bruno. That's a good question. First, the under 13, I can tell you, we have from we had 2018, I think 2018 or 2017. We took our under 13 to the nationals. I happened to be selected with the 7 players, and we went to Nakuru, and it was a very good it was a very good game. And those who were selected there went to Spain. So that is what FKF basically do. And about officiating the lower league, they don't pay. FKF pays for the unders fee. Sorry about your sub branch, whatever. It's up to you to take charge with your chairman, because in fact, in refereeing, we have a lot of problems. We know that, and we are just trying to give them. I can tell you mine, every Tuesdays and every Thursdays, we meet at the stadium, goes through the laws of the game and how they do and perfect their skills. That's what I have been doing, and I've never had any complaint on my side from any regional game, Division 2, even to the down league game. Maybe there was okay. Sometimes referees say that say I'll be available, but you see, he sees another game there. One Mwanasiasa is there. Some Ape Kopesa. I go to that match, and you and FKF. You should know first. FKF league and competition is period first. You should not play, and if you have a team, you should not play any league, any unsanctioned league and tournaments. We have that in our constitution, because if you play there, you saw the referee who died from Kisii. He went to officiate a game that was not sanctioned by the federation. Now, when you come to us and tell us referee went to Ameuliwa, what can we say? And it is not sanctioned by the federation. I don't know. So we are trying to tell you people that if anything you want to do, please contact a federation. It will give you a way forward. But then, it can even give you a way, like I said, it can give you a permit to play for that to play that tournament as as agreed. And I think about referees, we have in the lower league we have a very challenging one in referees.
All right, thank you.
And,
Thank you, Kaka.
Kaka, maybe a last question. There was we were talking about affiliating track courses to FKF.
Okay.
So maybe that one, Ricky.
It is possible. You know, Robert, mimi nimelewa na trek. Ambassador is my as my as my father's, because I've trained with Ambassador and it made me who I am now. You can talk to the technical department, Mr. Amenga, and you'll come to a conclusion because you just try to, you just request. But you cannot request, and your and your referees are not trained, but have not even got the first basic lesson in FKF. So it's good that you people, like Steve, train us from the basics. I know Steve is a higher class coach. You get the basic, and then you can go on. I think I gave Kinyashi the number of the chairman of Nairobi East to talk to him so that you can do follow up.
Thanks,
So
Kaka.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Kaka. Thanks, Bruno, for that. Yes, I think also Steve will share more on. There has been let's say, remarkable progress in that. Now we are about to finish, and I'll encourage us in the WhatsApp group. You can just post those questions there, and we'll keep that conversation going with Kaka and just other people in FKF who are in that platform. Also believe that this is not the last time that we are having Robert and Kaka. We would definitely love to learn more, to seek more counsel and advice, and just see how we can indeed just take Kenyan football forward on the at a grassroots level. As I conclude, I have two things that I want to share. One, I will have Robert and Abdul, you will, just before I hand this to Stephen, I can ask you or one of you to share what advice do you have for grassroots coaches? What advice would you like just advise us here? And I believe what's passing on for us here is also out for other coaches also in other countries. Be it someone is in Rwanda or even Mozambique, they can know this is something that we can do as grassroots coaches. What advice do you have for us? And the final one, I think Robert gave me a challenge to go and look at the qualifying for Harambee Stars. And also I believe that's a challenge to us all. We look at that, and I will leave this challenge to him now. I think when I was looking at the FA website, they showed a coaching pathway that a coach can start at this level and grow and just take steps towards the higher level of coaching. I will also bring that challenge to Robert and Kaka, that when I open the FKF website again sometime in future, I'll see a little pathway for us to know, I can start here as a grassroots coach and build to where I can go. Yeah, so thank you everyone. Robert and Kaka, I will have you share just your advice to us, and then I hand it over to Stephen from my desk. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky. What I will advise, you is that grab a chance when it comes. A chance, just chance, maybe they will be coming only once, because as you can see, we did our basic in 2016. So when you must be having a contact with people with FKF, so that you can know when these things are being done. And the Nick Mondo regime does not what can I say? It does not segregate any person. As far as it is by merit. So that is a good thing, because it's not like because Abdul is the chairman or Robert is the chairman, he must be there because he's the chairman. No, Nick's administration is by merit. So you can grab those chances, and don't fear to come out because of training, and you can be a very ambassadors. I've trained with ambassadors for long, and you can be a very good trainers even in training. So my good advice is you just keep on talking to the FKF people, and then everything will be okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaka. Over to Robert.
Oh, Robert, you're muted right now.
Sorry, I think I'm back on. I would like to reinforce what Kaka said. The federation is for everyone, and we are open to listen to everyone's views to make this better. As stakeholders, we said we came into office so that we can leave a legacy in football. I would like to challenge the coaches. And the big challenge I have for you is to see what we are doing. Our national team coach is local. 70% of our Harambee Stars team is local. This is your chance, because if you do these courses and you do well, you will get the opportunity to do something with your life. You will be able to coach the national team. You will be able to come out with the next Olunga, with the next Wanyama, and your name will be written in the history books. I challenge you to come out and do this. Don't fear.
Great, thanks, Robert. Thanks, Kaka. Let me just wrap us up here with a couple thoughts. First, I mean, Robert's here. I've been connected with him not for too long, but Bruno, your question was one of the questions that connected Robert and us, just to say, hi, how we do some of this, and we want to know how to connect with the federation. So Robert was able to connect me with Michael Amenga, and Kenyash and I met with him last year. So we were planning to do a course with the federation in April, in a couple weeks, which had to be postponed. So look for more kind of events that we're doing in conjunction with the federation that can get the official certification from the federation as ambassadors. Really does a lot of the coach's father figure, the mentoring that is our heart. I just want to close. This is going to be short, but it is. I thought it's easier for me to share my screen to do this. It's really easy, in my opinion, to as a community coach, as a grassroots coach, to blame the leaders. And unless I'm in their shoes, unless I'm actually in that position, it's just easier for me to say things don't go right and it's Robert's fault, it's Nick's fault. What are they doing? And I want to challenge us as coaches, that there's a better way for us as coaches that want to be father figure, good role models, that the way that we support those who we work with, and the federation being the structure of football in our countries, that the way that we support the federation is something that our players are going to notice. So what can we do? I just thought there are a couple scriptures that for me stood out. One, first thing I want us to do is, I think we need to be really intentional to pray for the federation and its leaders. So 1 Timothy 2 says, first of all, then I urge you that supplications, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings and all who are in high positions, that we may lead a peaceful and quiet life, godly and dignified in every way. I just think this is a call for us to pray for guys like Robert and Nick and Kaka and others who are holding these positions. As a fellow leader, these things are complex, and I don't I don't envy their position and all that they have to carry. So I think it's something that we can do to pray for them. I just think there's a reality of when Jesus was walking up to Jerusalem, which was a place of where the leadership sat for him. He wept. He wept because he saw that there was brokenness within it. And I think for us, that there are areas that we've seen the Federation disappoint us, that we've been, whether it's, we don't have linesmen or there are other things, whether it's corruption in the past or whatever the things might be. And some of those are real, some of those are just perceived, that we lament and we weep over these things. And Luke 19:41 says, and when he drew near and saw the city, he wept over it. So I think there's a right place for us to acknowledge some of the places where the Federation has let us down, and that Jesus did not stop at weeping, but he continued to move out in love. And I think that's our right response. It's not to gloss over and say we're just going to forget about anything that's not good. It's entering into it and continuing to serve and to love and to fight for what's right and what's good, what's true. So I think this lament over brokenness. Work for the good of the Federation. Jeremiah 29:7 says that seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will find your welfare. Again, this is the Israelites in exile in Babylon, so it's the ones who are oppressing them. And God says, pray for those who are oppressing you, because if their city prospers, you prosper. And I just think for us as coaches within that are functioning within our grassroots football, that we want to see football improve and grow in our country. So be intentional to kind of work for the growth and the benefit of the Federation, because it will trickle down. We've heard that a lot. It trickles down to the grassroots where a lot of us work. And then the last thing I just want to say is just what we ultimately, I would say, what I'm ultimately about is a different kingdom. So yes, I love national team. I love these things. I love seeing the Kenya team do well. I want wins. I want success. Those are great. But my kingdom is different. What my success is a different success. In John 18:36, as Jesus answered, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would have been fighting that I might not be delivered over to the Jews, but my kingdom is not from the world. I just want to remind us that we're after something different. We want to see people encounter Jesus. This is our goal, and it for me as a leader within Ambassadors, that's a different goal than the Federation. So do I want to see football improve and hold up, like that there's life and wholeness in that? Of course. But ultimately, I really want to see lives transformed because they've encountered Jesus. And that ultimately is going to be a different battle than just wins and losses. That there's a kingdom, there's more to what I'm fighting for. And I think that's just a good reminder for us. So I just wanted to share a couple of these principles. There are more that are out there, but these are just some things to encourage us as coaches of how do we support the work of the Federation, and also hold the Federation accountable to things that we've heard tonight. That we want to. This is ways that we can spur them on and encourage them, but it's doing from a standpoint of support and encouragement, not just judgment against them. So I'll close with a word of prayer after this, but I just want to mention one other thing. As we have had the cancellation or the postponement to our course with the Federation, we have put together a Trek Online. So we've talked about this for a while, but Monday to Wednesday, April 19th to 21st, from 9 in the morning to 1 p.m., we're going to do a kind of a modified Trek. So this is our coaching course that we do as ambassadors. You can see here what's going to be there: heart of a coach, roles of a father figure, some coaching theory, so different ways that you can use football in your community, more things that we can try to fit into those 3 days. There's registration, there's a link and a flyer that we'll send out. But I'm excited because we have just been waiting to get on the field with you guys. We can't get on the field, so this is the best we can do right now. So it's going to be a Zoom little training that we're going to do. You can see there the cost is going to be 1,000 shillings for those 3 days. We'll kind of issue a certificate at the end of it. But this is just something that we're excited to be able to offer. I just want to put it out there. We'd love to have you guys come out as coaches and also to share with others. All right, so that's what I have to share. Guys, thank you for pushing a little bit extra today. What I want to do is just close us with a word of prayer and a chance to pray for Robert and Kaka and who are represented on this call and others as well. So I've heard some of the things that they've talked about. So I'll pray for those things. And Robert and Kaka, just know this is a community. We've talked about this before. I hope that tonight stirs this up and spurs us on to continue this, but just to set aside days within our community that we're saying we're going to pray for the Federation today, that we're going to pray for you guys. We're going to reach out and say, how can we pray for you, both personally, but also just as the work that you guys are doing. So we're behind you, we're with you. And Robert, in particular, thanks for joining us tonight. So let me close us with a word of prayer as we wrap up. Lord, we are thankful that you call us to proclaim your kingdom through a game that we love, and that this beautiful game can not only be a place that we get to have fun and enjoy and compete, but it's also a place that we can connect people to you, that we can introduce players to you and your kingdom, to hope that you offer, to resurrection life that you give. So Lord, I pray that for us as coaches, that you would encourage us by your word, that we would hear your voice inviting us to journey with you on an adventure that includes just includes serving and laying down our lives to see flourishing happen. So I pray that we would be coaches who really are leaders in our community, that are humble before you, and passionate about seeing your name proclaimed, passionate about loving people well. Lord, we pray for the Federation. We pray for Robert and Nick and their leadership, their roles. Lord, that you would give them wisdom and discernment to continue to see progress that they're hoping for, that the legacy that they leave is not just for their glory, but for the glory of your name, but also really to see others flourish. So Lord, may they flourish as others flourish. May you give them blessing and favor. Lord, protect them, protect their lives, protect their families, watch over them. And God, I pray that they would know that they are not alone in this journey. Lord, I pray for Kaka and other leaders within our midst who are serving in different ways within the Federation. Lord, that you would bless them and bless the work of their hands. Lord, I pray specifically for Kaka that you would give health and protection for him in these coming days. Watch over him and care for him right now. Lord, we're grateful for this time tonight. Thanks for allowing us to connect. And we pray that you would be glorified as we go from here. We pray all this in the name of your son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Guys, when we get to this point in the call, usually my daughter jumps in and tells me it's time to be done. So she has done that right on time, right on cue. So this is my timing that it's 6:30 and we should be done for the night and go engage with our kids. I'm really grateful for you guys coming out and joining with us tonight. We'll look forward to doing this next month in May, and look for some information about Trek Online. If you're not connected within our network, within our WhatsApp group, please send me a message right now, or send Kinyash or Ricky Just make sure that if you're on here and we're not with you, that we can get connected and stay in touch. But great. If you want to stick on for a couple more minutes, I'll leave Ricky in charge of this group. You can say hi to someone. But my little daughter said it's time for me to go. so I gotta go. But again, Robert, Kaka, thank you so much for your time with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Rigby. Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you. All right.
Take care, everybody.
Because of